Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy CEO Anthony, my main man Bryce Ward, and my second favorite white guy in the world, Michael Franz. What is going on?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Something
I
like
think the
that.
As
sun. I think the
always,
sun is up over in your guys' area. For me, it's still pitch black.
I was saying you're all dark in there. What's going on, my man?
Hey, this is the lighting in this room. If I had some sun,
Wow.
I'd open up the window, but I only get the window. Yeah.
Look, as always, we got some shit to get into. I want to give Bryce a little love because the Cancun trip started this week, and I believe Bryce predicted that the Denver Nuggets would go over the Los Angeles Clippers. So, Bryce, I'm going to give you a little bit of flowers.
hmm
Any thoughts on the second round series between your Nuggets and the OKC Thunder? We'll start with Bryce, and we'll move to Mike.
Nuggets. I don't think OKC has quite the playoff experience yet to make me believe that they can beat Denver in a 7-game series if Denver's firing on all cylinders like they seem to be playing at right now. So maybe in a couple seasons, or if OKC can prove themselves this season, I believe in them a little bit more. But they have to prove it to me first. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Denver in that series as well.
Got it, Mike. So, with the stellar play of Russell Westbrook, with with the
That's how
different,
you. That's how you're gonna
yeah,
talk about me, bro.
yeah.
That's how you supposed to.
Hey, I'm
All
gonna
right.
throw you a bone later. Now. I'm gonna throw you a bone later. So, again, with the stellar play of Russell Westbrook, do you think he can actually be a huge difference maker going up against OKC? Because there's really no one on that team that can contain him after you have to deal with Murray, after you have to deal with Jokic. I call them the twins, Gordon. What's the other good? God damn, I can't think of his name right now.
Junior.
That guy, the two light skins. Okay, so who do you think can contain Russell Westbrook on the OKC Thunder?
Well, first of all, this is not me speaking as a non-fan of Russell Westbrook. I'm not worried about Russell Westbrook. I don't think he's going to be a factor.
Okay, okay,
I
okay,
don't. I don't. I think
okay.
Russell Westbrook's time has passed. I think because and the reason why I say this is I watched a good portion of that series.
Got it. Oh, might have lost Mike. Okay.
Still,
My
oh, there we go.
might have lost Mike. You got it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm here. So he had yesterday. I mean, as soon as I pull up ESPN, he's one of the headline pictures talking about the win
Right.
yesterday.
Right.
But he hasn't been a factor in the whole series, in my opinion, at all. So I don't see him being a factor against OKC. He might have his play here and there that coming off the bench, he might have a couple of them here and there, but he's not the Russell Westbrook that's here to make a whole difference in the game anymore. That Russell Westbrook is gone.
The Clippers had bodies that they could throw at him. OKC does
So
not.
OKC, let's not forget, OKC last season was the number one overall defensive team,
That's fine. But remember,
right?
you have to guard Murray, you have to guard Jokic, you have to guard Aaron Gordon, and then you have to guard the other light skin with the big head, who I just cannot think of his name right now.
Michael Porter Jr.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, so
Tender assassin, but that's a story for another day.
my pick in that series is actually going to be OKC.
Okay, got it. So what do you think OKC can do to stop a red hot Denver Nuggets right now?
I think the
What's their
question
game
is
plan?
what can the Nuggets do to stop a red hot OKC
Okay.
team? Like, granted, let's take the last series for example, right? They played Memphis. I'm not going to say Memphis was a big deal,
No, yeah, yeah.
but OKC showed that by beating them by 55 points. Right? Let's like they treated Memphis like they needed to. And the one time that these guys were down, what was
Yeah,
it? 20 what was it 29?
yeah,
It was like 29 points.
yeah. They came back. Yeah,
They came back and they won, and in convincing fashion too. And the factor in that game was Chet Holmgren. So you have defense that they've built on because they're still the same team. I think their defense is I think their defense this past season was overshadowed by Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's offensive play,
Mhm.
but they're still a very good defensive team. Granted, they are young; they do have inexperience, and the Nuggets are what I said. Like they were like the most experienced team in the Western Conference right now
Mhm.
of how good they've been, and they've even won a ring over the past couple of years, right? And they're a huge factor. But the Clippers, I didn't think the Clippers were going to be. I didn't think they were going to win 3 games, but at the same time, I did think the Nuggets were going to end up coming out of that series. Period. And the way that the Thunder played and treated Memphis, the way they played all season, the more points that they put on the board, the defense that they've had, I think the question is more or less what are the Nuggets going to do? Because when the Nuggets are not hitting, they can't be beat.
I just don't think OKC has a lot of weapons to deal with Denver. I think Denver actually has more weapons.
They have more weapons. They have more of the name weapons with the experience. I think that's the difference. But both teams can spread the floor just as good as the other, right? We saw that with Chet Holmgren. How is Chet Holmgren hitting threes like that? Bryce, did
So
you
I mean,
see?
yeah.
Did you see any of the highlights of that game, or did you watch that game by any chance?
I watched last night's game. I mean, I'm sorry. I watched the Denver. I'm talking about the Denver game. No, I wasn't able to catch the OKC Memphis games.
When Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did, I don't even think he scored 15 points that game. So what they're saying is you don't have to score 40. We've got other players that are probably going to step up here, and they can. This is their time to shine. And I guess the question for me to you guys is, when do we say somebody is ready? When we see somebody is ready, majority of the time, that team has to take down a top team.
This would be the series.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the series. Yeah.
This is like the self series.
Yeah, if they can get through Denver, which I'm just saying I don't think they can, but if they can get through Denver, this will be the series where I take them serious. Because at that point, like I always say, you have to get to the conference finals for me to take you serious.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to do that. Sorry, I'm playing around my computer here. They would have to do that this season for me, for this playoff run, for me to be like, okay. Now, as far as Shea, I've loved Shea since he was a rookie coming off the bench with the Clippers. I do, and a lot of people forget that. But in the limited minutes that I saw him then, I loved him then. Um, but no, Shea's the MVP. Shea is absolutely their number one weapon, but I just don't think they have enough to deal with Denver. That's just what I'm saying with that. Um, sorry, I'm having some TDs here, but we're gonna move to the Eastern Conference real quick. Bryce, I tried. I tried really hard. Um, we both know the Magic played really hard against the Boston Celtics. We all predicted the dogfight that was going to be the Knicks and the Pistons. Mike, me and you talked offline the other day. I still can't get over that Brunson shot. I know you can't get over that Brunson shot. It was filthy, man. Filthy.
Yeah, it was. You saw Malik Beasley's press conference afterwards, right?
No, I didn't watch it.
He said, now he went a little bit far. But he said, Asar Thompson is the best defender in the world, and I'm the best shooter in the world. I was like, Malik, bro, you might want to watch your next steps here. But he was like 18, but the cool thing is I like that this is how they're gelling. Like, I don't see that this Pistons team, I hope, and I say this with conviction because I was one that didn't believe in Tobias Harris going there. But I hope this team stays together as much as possible. Right. So we'll get into something else here in a little bit, which involves players that I'm not necessarily concerned for anymore. But like for the Pistons, but the core of this team, Cade, Thompson, Duren, I can't say it enough how much I love this tandem of Cade and Duren. I love this tandem. It's awesome for me. But we'll get into some more details here on what I kind of predict with the Pistons here in the offseason.
You might have them for a little while. So Bryce, I'm gonna throw it to you. As far as the second round matchup, forgive me, first game between New York and Boston. as much as the Boston Celtics bitched about the Magic being physical with them, how do you think New York's going to be able to throw Boston around?
Um, I think the starters are going to be pretty much what we expect. I think it's just going to come down to, I don't know if the Knicks have quite the depth to deal with Boston's. And I think the stars are kind of going to be like cancel each other out in a sense. That's as long as one of Brown and Jalen, or of Tatum and Brown, have a okay game, and then you have one of their supporting cast show up. It's a with what everybody else does, so it's like a matter of who's it gonna be. Um, I don't know if how Holiday is feeling. Holiday is going to be able to really change the dynamics of what Brunson, I think, is capable of getting away with, because Brunson's going to get his.
Great
But
point.
I'd rather have Holiday wearing him down all series with like I said, a thin bench and a Tom Thibodeau. I think it's going to be a tough series for Brunson if Holiday is playing. So I don't think the Knicks can kind of push Boston physically the same way Orlando did, but they offer
Are
such
you
a strength
serious?
on offense. Well, I was going to say that they're going to wear them down in ways that Orlando can't. It's just going to be a different tone in my eyes. But I still pick Boston. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Throw up the Durant picture. There's the Durant picture.
No, keep talking. Keep
Listen,
talking. Keep saying what you were saying. Keep going.
um, I'm still picking Boston to win this series.
Mm.
The Knicks are going to be tough. However, I've been picking Boston to come out of the East to begin with. I think they're too polished, and they're too good on offense and defense to lose, I think, to the Knicks, who they're not young as OKC, but in the sense to where I still need to see this team prove to me that they can beat one of these top tier teams in the series. If this was Cleveland or Boston, I would still pick them over the Knicks. Like it wouldn't matter. I don't think the Knicks are quite there. I think they're just one step behind Boston and Cleveland. So yeah, I'm picking Boston probably in like 6.
It's always fuck Boston. It's going 7, and New York's going to steal it. Um, Still game 7 to Boston. It's always going to be fuck Boston. All right. So,
Well, you know what though? Like Boston though has home court advantage. I think that's one of the biggest factors. I didn't when we were talking offline, Bryce, that was an amazing point in regards to Holiday. Because Drew
Mhm.
doesn't need to go out there for his offense. But if he can actually play heavy defense and stop Jalen Brunson or slow Jalen Brunson down, I don't think you're going to stop him. With some of the things that I saw over this last series, Jalen Brunson is in another world right now, right? The first game, like in my opinion, the Pistons should have won damn near all 6 games. They lost those games. They lost those games. They were up 11 and lost 10 in game 1. Who goes on a 21-0 run to end the game? You ever seen that in your life, guys?
I actually have, but it's okay.
But not many, right? You're how old and how many times have you ever seen a 21-0 end the game or win? Crazy.
It's rare. It's rare. It's
They
rare.
were for 2 other games, they were 1 foul away that could have changed it. They gave away game 6. They were up by 7 with the last few minutes to go, and then all of a sudden, Jalen Brunson shows up. The one factor that's involved, like I think Cat can shoot. He showed up during the first series against Detroit, but Jalen Brunson put the team on his back with a busted ankle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's still a little bit like Bryce said, there's that one piece that they probably still need as a role player, somebody that can take a little bit off of Brunson. That's his name isn't Josh Hart. I mean, we would probably expect that OG Anunoby could probably be that individual, but I don't see him being it kind of needs to be between him and the Brunson, that type of player that needs to be in there. Who I can't call it, but I think the Knicks are still one spot away. The series between Detroit and the Knicks, I didn't watch any series that was out there that was more, I guess, choppy, you could say, because the
Sure.
refs let these guys play.
hmm
Right? They let these guys play. I watched a whole stretch where there were probably 6 or 7 fouls that would be called in today's game, and it like even the announcers were like, "Hey, we're back to '90s basketball. This is awesome. Like, what's going on here?" Right? And I mean, the Knicks I think ended up winning that game specifically. I want to say it was probably game 4, but I don't think that there's any more physical team in this or series that was in this playoffs than the Detroit Knicks game. So that could have helped the Knicks a little bit because they're going to go in with that type of a mentality already. And Boston they can play soft as marshmallows, right? Jason Tatum is not Jason Tatum of the regular season, like Bryce was saying. So as long as Jaylen Brown and I think, yeah, that X factor of Drew Holiday and then maybe these bench players that can shoot threes, hey, I think the Celtics are still going to win.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Boston's going to complain about the Knicks' physicality.
They
Trust me,
are.
they complain
Yeah.
about every fucking touch that they get.
So there's one player that no one mentioned, and I think this player is going to be the X factor for the New York Knicks. Okay, put Mikal Bridges on Jason Tatum. Just put him on. He's not going to be able to contain Jaylen Brown, but you put him on Jason Tatum. Okay, Josh Hart, I think, can give Jason Tatum fits on the defensive end. All right, it's possible. I'm saying that it's possible that New York can really make some noise in this series. Boston dodged the bullet last year when they didn't have to go up against the Knicks. They got it this year, so we gonna see what happens. So, moving right along, the most overrated player in the NBA. Oh
Yeah, I'm
man,
glad. Yo, did you see the T-shirts that Cleveland is setting up for Game 1?
no,
Oh my god,
I
they're
gotta see it.
hilarious. Yeah, you should
My
Google it. It says like "Tell Daddy to sit down" or something like that, and they're maroon and it says it in gold. Yeah,
my my
it's funny.
boy, my boy, 2020 24 Olympia Tyrese Halliburton. Bryce, when you saw his father on the court in the face of Giannis, what was your first thoughts?
It's like he's lucky to be alive. Giannis, Giannis was staring daggers through him.
Yeah, yeah. Mike, go ahead and unleash some of your thoughts.
I don't know. I think that the response from the Pacers was perfect. I
Yeah,
think
quick too,
by
quick too.
yeah, it was quick, and I think it was correct. It takes me back to being a kid in Little League, right? Get parents that ruin the game because they want to sit there and argue with each other that whose kid did this and whose kid did that, right? It's that stuff stops when you reach a certain level, right? I don't care what it was, basketball, baseball, whatever. But that stuff stops, and at some point, you got to let your son, who is an NBA Olympian, like he's an Olympian and he's an NBA All Star, right? You got to let him handle his own business. Like I will never, ever, ever, ever allow my mom to go out and defend me at my job, right? Because whatever reasons. But I think Giannis's respect that he has for people, elderly individuals, let's just say, like older people,
Mhm.
I think that allowed him to kind of keep his cool a little bit. Giannis is a respectable individual. I don't think that anything was going to go any further than what it did. But I think that John was 110% wrong for what he did. And yeah, unfortunately, that's your consequence. Now, your son is in the NBA, potentially reaching. I'm not going to say I don't think they're going to beat Cleveland, but who knows? Potentially reaching the biggest stage of his career, and you can't even go see it.
Right, right.
Sit your ass down, bro. Let your son play the game. Watch his team. If they lose, they lose. If they win, celebrate with them. If they lose, be an ear for him to talk to. But keep your emotions in check.
So I'm gonna do. I want you guys to give me a one-word answer because we're not gonna go into it today, but we're gonna go into it in future episodes. So here's the question. Give me a one-word answer, Bryce. Is Giannis
You
He
kind of
clicked
broke
out.
up. There you
Yeah.
go. Restart the question.
okay? So one word answer. Is Giannis gone?
No.
Okay, Mike. Is Giannis gone?
I think the percentage for me, I'm like right now I'm at 51-49. Yes.
That was
Yeah.
more than one word.
Well, but so the simple answer, yes, yes.
Okay.
I just
Okay. I think
I'm not convicted in that yes yet.
I
I'm
think he's
not there
gone.
yet.
I think he's gone. So, moving right along, we do have another game 7 today, and I would preface it by saying, as like it's always fuck Boston this season with the Golden State Warriors, it's always going to be fuck Golden State and fuck you, Jimmy Butler. Okay. So, with that said, Houston's going to win today at home. Mike, what you got?
Nah, I'll still take the Warriors in this one. Only because in the Eastern Conference, the two teams that we thought were very inexperienced that could have beat those teams in Orlando and Detroit, right? Those two teams don't have the experience, and it shows. You can't tell me that we're going to have three inexperienced teams, and one of them is going to pass on with a team like the Golden State Warriors. No, I don't. I think the inexperience shows. The Rockets are also one individual away from being a factor. And see, if we're gonna, if we'll preface this a little bit, I was actually so towards your little picture there, right? I've been calling that Kevin Durant go to Houston. I think that's the best move for Phoenix. I think that's the best move for Phoenix. But we can't trust Phoenix to do that. Phoenix is going to screw something up some way.
Now you know y'all got new leadership now. Don't do that. We talked about that too.
No, I don't
that.
care. Hey, no, it's the same people. What are you talking about? It's the same people.
Well, James moved up and some other guy in there, right?
Man, they gave James Jones a new title, but he's still damn near in the same role. But somebody else, yes, did move up. Regardless, though, he's being influenced. His boss is James Jones. So you think that's not going to have any influence on whatever this individual does? Phoenix is in a deep hole right now, and the only way, in my opinion, that they can get out, go back and get all those picks that you traded for Kevin Durant because Houston went and got them.
Mm-hmm.
You can reverse that whole trade.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm saying it'd be the smarter move because you can get your whole future back if you decide, if you can negotiate that well. At this point, Houston might be like, oh, hey, you guys pissed Kevin Durant off. You guys aren't going anywhere. So we're only going to give you these picks. We're not going to give you these ones. Right now, Houston is in control of whatever they do, if that is even on the table anymore. But Phoenix should do that. They should go that route first rather than send Kevin Durant to Miami.
Do you think they can do enough to keep Booker happy?
No, I think Booker's gone. It's not because of the fact that he doesn't want to be here. It's because I don't think that they're talking about cutting payroll left and right because they're in a bad position financially. Thanks, Brad.
That they put themselves in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. They don't know how to spend money. They don't know what they like. That's what I'm saying. That front office is terrible. They're going to ruin it some way, shape, or form.
Got it. So I've already said, of course, who I think is going to win this series, but I do not think that I do not think that Houston's going to get Kevin Durant in the offseason, even though they should. I don't think that's going to be the move that they're going to make because, like you said, I think Phoenix is going to fuck it up. So I agree with you on that 1,000%. So it looks like you guys have the Rockets going to Cancun this offseason and not the Golden State Warriors at this point in time?
Correct.
I'm picking Golden State.
Okay. You picking Golden State to win or to go to Cancun?
To win.
To win?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you, Bryce.
I'm not betting against Curry and Butler in one game.
Did you actually watch that clip of that cartoon that I sent over to you with Jimmy Butler?
Yes, I did. So again, it's for this season only. Fuck Golden State. Fuck Jimmy. I got the Houston Rockets moving on. So the topic I really want to get into.
Let's go.
Ooh, I want to get into this. LeBron James is the greatest statistical player that has ever played in the NBA. He is on his way out. I believe there's going to be an announcement this summer. Not that he's going to retire this summer, but he's going to play one more year. With that being said, they had a lot of steam after the Luka trade. They jumped up to the third ranking when they were probably sixth or seventh at the time. But they were exposed in the playoffs. So I know Bryce wasn't on the playoff prediction show that we did. Mike, can you kind of go through why Pat actually predicted the Timberwolves, why we thought he was crazy, but also the deficiencies that we pointed out with the Los Angeles Lakers that actually became true.
Yeah, so he picked the Timberwolves because he was dropping names like Nas Reed, right? It was a six man of the year. Like, look, I'm not saying this stuff to clown on Pat because
I'm clowning on him.
I give him his flowers for actually calling the series. But like you said before we had hopped on, there were points that we made that caused this loss to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the deficiencies of the defense on LA side. So Luka is a defensive liability. He absolutely is. And he showed that this series. Granted, in the last game, he was hurt a little bit. I kind of feel like that just kind of came out of nowhere, but he was showing the signs of, visibly being hurt. So regardless, though, they weren't deep enough as far as the bench went. They had a game. You sent me the screenshot where it was literally no substitutions in the second half, right? So then you got the coaching, right? So I love JJ Redick. I think that he was a great pickup for the Lakers. I think that he's going to be a fantastic coach in the NBA for years to come. But that was not a way to approach that experience as coaching, inexperience. That hurt the Lakers. So your defense hurt the Lakers. Your coaching kind of hurt the Lakers. But, I mean, to sit here and say that, the Timberwolves were that deep, I'm not fully on board with that. I think that they just exposed the Lakers in a way that the Lakers couldn't handle, which was utilizing two big bodies for the most part. That last game when they lost, to have 27, to let Rudy Gobert have as many rebounds, almost as many points as he's had, 27 and 24, that was ridiculous. And it was effective for Minnesota. It was really effective for them. So that just exposed that, the Lakers need a versatile big man. Jackson Hayes, they didn't even use Jackson Hayes that I saw in that last game.
No, which is another point that I'm going to make later on. So,
someone was smiling at your Luka comments when you started.
What's up, Bryce?
Mike mentioned Luka's defense efficiencies and his looking like he is getting injured. Like Nico's like, oh yeah, all the things I was complaining about.
Yeah.
So
I think that's an interesting line right there. Is as soon as the series was over, one of the first topics that I saw being exposed was the Lakers questioning Luka's conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, how wrong was this man Nico then at that case, right? If you really don't want this individual because he's not doing what he needs to do to stay in shape, etc., and you feel like you just need to move on, maybe it wasn't that bad of a move.
Trade Luka, okay? You still don't trade Luka, and
I get it. Trust me.
and you have to have the fortitude as a franchise to whip him into shape, right? Or you don't even have to trade him. You just threaten him with his money. He can't go anywhere anyway.
Right.
Or you're not going to get the max. We're going to keep you, and you're not going to get the max. So here's my issue. And Bryce, I'm sorry. I just can't take it no more. Here's my fucking issue with this. As Mike said before we started recording, you wasted another run from LeBron. Okay. We all know what LeBron is right now. And I'm going to say this. As a kid, Charles Barkley was my favorite player. He was declining. Charles Barkley was on national TV talking about he drinks during games and shit. Okay, fine. But he said it. He said in an interview one time, he was like, "I'm not a great player anymore, but some nights I can still be great." That's where LeBron James is right now. Okay. So now you
Nope.
bring Luka. No, oh yeah, he's there.
Nope.
He's there. He can't will his team to a win anymore. He's there.
You're
He's not a
telling,
great
but you're
player.
telling me that man doing numbers that a 21-year-old LeBron did
I'm
is
giving him his flowers by
that is the
saying
best regression I've ever seen in my
no.
life.
I'm giving him his flowers by saying he's not going to be a great player every night anymore. Just some nights he can be great. The Lakers squandered that. I'm actually defending LeBron. Let me cook. Let me
Do what
cook.
you do.
Thank you. I'm defending LeBron. So now you have Luka. Okay, out of shape, hurt. We know it. He's only been there for 2 months. So I'm not even going to put all the pressure on Luka right now for this short playoff run. Here's my question for Bryce, and I've been waiting 11 months to ask you this because I knew this was going to happen. Do we fire JJ Redick after 1 year? Because no, wait, Mike, wait. Because y'all fired Darvin Ham. Y'all fired Darvin Ham after a conference finals run. Okay. So now do we fire JJ Redick after a first round loss? Let's be I'm just playing devil's advocate right now. Because what he did in this playoff series was gross. He didn't adjust. I don't care if Jackson Hayes, I don't care if that nigga can't score nothing. He got 6 fouls he can use on Rudy Gobert. 6 fucking fouls he can use on Rudy Gobert. You see what I'm saying? How the fuck does Rudy Gobert in an elimination game score 27 points and have like 20 fucking rebounds? And how do you not adjust? After the game that you played your entire starters the full second half with a 41-year-old LeBron James, an out-of-shape Luka Doncic, and you expect them to have energy the next game in Game 5, which is an elimination game? Make it make sense. And you get mad when someone asks you a question about consulting your assistants before the game even started. It was gross. Bryce, JJ Redick's performance, please.
Well, I think for a couple reasons that they won't scapegoat him the way they did Darvin Ham. There's a few things, and one of them we don't know as much about. There's only rumors, and then that's how the locker room responds to him too. So we've seen him rip the players in ways that like Darvin, we at least didn't see. I would say on the court as much. The way Redick has gotten into his guys. I don't know if we can say for sure how much influence we know LeBron James had on even getting him the job. So if LBJ wants him there and he has the locker room, that changes the situation considerably, and that's just stuff that we can only guess at. So based on how the Lakers have treated coaches in the past, yeah, would it be an argument to say they have reason to do the same thing here? Yeah, but I don't think they're going to for a couple of different reasons. And to be fair, I don't think maybe Ham should have gotten the quick boot the way he did either, considering that was like his first time in that position with those players and stuff. I think we know coaches are the quickest to get the boot, especially in the recent NBA era. We see successful coaches get the boot with a couple of months left in the regular season. I mean, we see crazy things. So would I be surprised? No, but then at the same time, it is a slightly different situation because I think the players, and usually led by LeBron in the locker room, they want JJ there. At least that's the impression I get. And since he's a first-year coach, they can use that as an excuse. That too, you could use that as an excuse either way if you wanted to get rid of him or keep him. But I think there's some differences there, and they're going to keep him. I mean, a coach has to learn too. I mean, I'm not saying I disagreed with the talent that the Lakers had to bring him in for a deep playoff run anyways. But since he's there, it's like, might as well at least give him another shot if you're going to keep most of the same players.
But at the expense of losing another year, LeBron? No. Mike, so I texted you the other night and I said, LeBron, Luca, pick and pop, pick and roll in the fourth quarter. Okay. With those two players, one of them was tired. Both of them could have been tired. With those two players, don't you think that would have been effective?
I mean, it could have been.
That's what I'm saying. The coach has to make that call.
Look, but this is JJ Redick's first playoffs.
He's played 17 years in the NBA. I've sat on my couch and watched the NBA for 30 years, and I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, you have Luca and you have LeBron, and in the fourth quarter, all you have to do is call a fucking pick and roll, a pick and pop with those two big dudes, and you can generate some offense.
Yeah, no, and it's a valid point. We can sit here and make valid points left and right as to what went wrong in this series, and yes, majority of it will fall on JJ Redick's shoulders. But those two factors that Bryce mentioned, accountability in the locker room, and the fact that LeBron loves him. I was saying the reason why he even got the job was because, I don't know if you want to throw it back, a year ago?
We can. Yeah, we said that's the only reason JJ got the job. Yeah.
That podcast that they had, like JJ Redick is an intelligent individual. He can understand the X's and O's. Decision.
So he couldn't put Jackson Hayes on Rudy Gobert to see if he could at least slow him down with 5 fouls.
The execution is a different story, right?
Okay.
At times, and given the factor that he only had LeBron and Luca for that end of the season, I think there's so many variables involved that were like, hey, yeah, we're gonna run this back next year. Now, next year is going to be a different story. Because the way that these coaches are being treated, 3 of them in 3 years here in Phoenix, it's ridiculous. These guys are being let go left and right. And I think that JJ now for all of next season will be on the hot seat. If they don't start well and which we'll get into that when we talk about these off-season free agency moves, right? But because I believe he's going to be handed a team that if he fails with that team, he's going to be gone by All-Star break. Right? But, I mean, we'll see how that goes. But I think there's too many variables to distinctively say that he needs to go now. Right? I think that they want to see what happens with someone who knows X's and O's from the intelligence standpoint that will learn from his mistakes, do something a little bit next year and differently next year and have 2 stars for a full season, if not 3.
They got roasted on the defensive end. Okay.
Oh, they got smoked.
Right. Now, during the regular season, once Luka got there, they were actually decent defensively. Okay. But once the playoffs hit, they just got smoked. So that was game planning. Redick got outcoached. So one of the few times this week I actually turned on my television and put it on ESPN, they were talking about should JJ Redick be fired for Mike Malone. I kind of like that. I kind of like it because sometimes you can't wait because that coach will be gobbled up by someone else. Okay, right. Mike Malone is going to be coaching again. He's young enough where he's going to get a job. So, Bryce, my question for you is, from an X's and O's standpoint, fuck LeBron's feelings at this point. And this is what I'll say about JJ. Yeah, everybody says how intelligent he is. I'm intelligent too. You guys are intelligent. We all have one flaw. Sometimes we don't see the simple things. Right. We can destroy the most complicated puzzle in front of us. But if it's so simple, like a goddamn pick and roll between your 2 best players, we won't see that because we're so fucking intelligent. Okay. So with Mike Malone out there right now, how tempting is that? Bryce, I'm gonna throw it to
you. I guess another thing, like I said before, it comes into this is like, even though it's like LeBron's on like the last couple years of his career, it's how much control does he have in LA? It seems like he still has quite a bit of control, and it's like, how much does he want him there for his final few seasons? I'm sure that comes into play as well. So it's not only that, and at this point, if you're looking to have Luka long term, I'm sure you're consulting him when it comes to some of these decisions too. It just depends on, I guess, how talks are going behind the scenes with Luka too. So to come in here and be like, I can guess how one of these coaches is going to affect the team. Is they've had other experienced guys before in other situations, so it's like, is that going to come in and motivate the players the way that they used to motivate players on a different team? It's like, are you going to come in and have the same effect because of the kind of the egos that are already there in LA, along with everything else that goes along with being in LA? Some coaches that can thrive or kind of, I guess, fall in those situations. So I don't know. I think certain guys are built for it better than others, specifically that job. So I can't say for sure if I know that would be a better coach with this team, because there's so much with LeBron and Luka there that goes into personalities more so than like bringing in an experienced coach with a younger team with a younger star kind of situation. I don't know Mike Malone's coaching style enough to say for sure that that's the right choice, or if it's such a good choice that I want to go ahead and fire another coach in another single year and keep going down that road. Maybe there's certain things I like about Redick with Luka if I have an entire offseason to plan around it. Or, maybe the plan is to finally kind of bring in a center, and then that changes things, and they want to give Redick a chance with that. But I don't know what those conversations sound like, so I can't say for sure. But I don't. There's so many coaching jobs open that not only are you going to have the right, I guess, pitch, but then the right players and personnel around that situation to want that, or for that coach to want to go there, because there's a lot of options this summer. So it's going to be interesting, but I don't know if that alone is like enough for a team to go through a coach again, like they've been going through. So I can't say for sure.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay. I said last year when we had this conversation about JJ being hired that it was bullshit and it wasn't gonna work. Okay. When you have a coach like Mike Malone out there, I don't even care how he can deal with players, because if you look at the Lakers' last three coaches, JJ Redick, Darvin Ham, Frank Vogel, Mike Malone's resume trumps all three of those guys combined. Okay. Um, if he's available, which he is, that's who you go after. JJ Redick is not the guy. He was a personal hire by LeBron James. I said last year, I don't take the Lakers serious because they hired JJ Redick and then they drafted Bronny. So accountability can be a false prophecy as well. You can be accountable, you can yell at players on the bench, but if you're one of LeBron James' puppets, how much accountability do you really have? Mike Malone can't be controlled by anyone. You see what I'm saying? And here's the thing about that. He would be the best choice for the Lakers, but because LeBron James is pulling all the strings, they won't hire him. So again, I can't take him serious. If he's really trying to win another championship, I can't take him serious. And I'm not knocking LeBron James, but from a basketball standpoint, fuck feelings at this point. Mike Malone, you have to go after him. You just have to, from a basketball standpoint, or I can't take you serious again.
Yeah, I mean, looking at historically the coaches that have been on any of the teams that LeBron has been on, even given Spoelstra, right? Those were all inexperienced coaches.
Mhm.
I mean, as far as being assistants here and there, some of them were, but yet David Blatt, Ty Lue.
His first ever coach
Right.
wasn't a puppet, Paul Silas.
There you go. So
And
yeah,
Paul Silas was the first guy to have it right, because he was like, LeBron James should be a point guard. And everybody thought he was crazy. Keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is also, like you just mentioned, like that's kind of a factor a little bit. Like if you think of historically, the coaches that have been on LeBron, like that have coached LeBron's teams, have not been experienced or successful coaches at their beginning of their tenure. So, I mean, Frank Vogel Frank Vogel might be an exception because he coached Indiana and coached
They
Indiana.
didn't win shit. They
Well,
got
he
to the
didn't.
conference finals. They got to the conference finals.
But that's saying a lot with the team that they had.
That was a loaded team. That team was great. Are you kidding me?
So, well, either way, Frank Vogel was able to take the Pacers to the conference finals.
Multiple times, yeah.
Right. So in that case, he might be one of the most successful coaches with the tenure coming in to the Lakers. But he never won a ring. He
He
doesn't
won a ring
have
with the
that
Lakers.
XP. Mike Malone has a
Vogel
ring
won a ring with the Lakers in the bubble
because of.
because Miami Heat was hurt.
Oh my God! I set myself up for that one.
My starting point guard was out. My center was
I set myself up for that one. Outside of that, though, before coming to the Lakers, he didn't have that championship XP, right?
Right, I'll give you that.
He smelled it, but that was about it.
Mm.
So I think that's going to also be a factor. Although I will say this: before free agency hits, if they keep JJ Redick, you know who they're going to end up getting, or at least really attempting to go get. If they go get Mike Malone, then you know who they're going to probably go get. That's going to be between Giannis.
Jokic is not going to be in Los Angeles.
Hey, it's been in conversation. It's been in conversation to put Luka and Jokic together.
Okay, that I fuck with. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and he knows, and he and Jokic. That's what I say. If they go get Mike Malone before free agency hits and before all these trades can be made, you know they're going to go get Jokic. They're going to do whatever they can to get Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, and they stick with JJ, that image you had with Giannis in a Heat jersey, that's not going to happen.
Y'all ain't getting Giannis.
One of those moves will be attempted to be made.
Giannis is not going to try to play in the shadow of LeBron James. Giannis is not going to do that. But let me throw it to Bryce. What do you think about Mike Malone in Los Angeles and bringing Jokic in for one last run with LeBron James, which will probably be, I'm saying 1 year, but he might squeeze out a second year. But look, this ride is over. It's over, okay? That dude's going to be 42 years old this year. It's over, okay? What do you think about Jokic to LA?
I think it's a nice idea. I think anybody would love to have Jokic, and I mean, you're clearly flying high because you just pulled a heist on with Luka. So I'm sure you believe anything is possible right now. Giannis too. I mean, I know there's a little more uncertainty around Giannis, which for good reason, but still, even now, it's going to be hard to pull off, I think, financially anyways. So I don't know. I think the Lakers will be in a tough spot to make any like huge splashes like that outside of trading LeBron, because I don't know. I have a hard time seeing that this summer, a big move like that. I don't know. I don't know if that'll be.
I'll say one last thing and then we'll wrap it up. I think the media.
When are we talking about free agency? I want to know.
Not yet. The season's not over with yet. Damn it! You're gonna have to wait. So here's the last thing for today. I'm gonna wrap it up with. We'll put a nice little bow on it. This week's coverage of LeBron James was gross. Okay. All of the LeBron James retirement talk and should he retire and should he do that's gross. That man can walk away whenever the fuck that man wants to walk away. Okay. The media who's protected him for so many years shouldn't now be like, is it time for him to go for a fucking narrative or a fucking story or fucking clips? Okay. I believe in my heart, and I don't care about being wrong. Y'all know that. I believe in my heart, LeBron's gonna say before he has to re-sign his contract, hey, this upcoming season is gonna be my last season because he deserves to be celebrated. Okay. I don't think LeBron's going to be like Kareem and in his final season average 8 points a game. I don't think he's going to do that. He's going to go out where he's at right now. Like Mike said, he's putting up numbers like he was 21 years old for the majority of the season. Okay. So here's the last question. I'm going to throw it to Mike first. Is this upcoming season going to be his last season?
Nope.
Got
2 words.
it. Okay.
Bryce James.
Yeah, but they can't. I can't take them serious if they draft Bryce too. I just can't.
I'm not talking about them drafting Bryce. They may not even need to draft Bryce. They may not even have the picks to draft Bryce if they move.
They don't got shit.
If they move all of their team or whatever they need to for Jokic or Giannis, any picks that they have are going to be included in that. So I'm not necessarily worried about that, but he wants to be in this. I would think that after at least having a one and done season at U of A, which I'll be down in Tucson watching those games. Yes, I don't.
Look at you.
I'm not even a U of A fan.
Right.
I'm ASU all the way, baby. But I will be heading down to Tucson to go watch those games here and there. So I think being able to do a one and done, I think the ability of possibly entertaining the fact of either playing together or just on the same stage as both of his kids, that keeps him in the keeps him in the NBA for 2 more years.
2 more at least.
2 more. And not just that, but he'll be getting towards season number 25, that milestone.
Yeah, he'll be 44.
Right.
44.
So I think that those couple milestones will keep him in, barring any injury. Injuries are going to be a huge factor because he is getting old, and Father Time proves that he's undefeated. So, barring any injury, knock on wood, I think he stays in the league for at least 2 to 3 more years.
So right now, Bryce, before I throw it to you, right now, LeBron James is tied with Vince Carter as the longest NBA career at 22 years. Bryce, do you think LeBron James retires after this next season, or do you think he plays more?
No. I think he's got 2 more in him. 2 more.
2 more?
I mean, like, he'll go through this season, and then he'll announce his retirement after the following season.
Wow. Yeah. This dude's gonna be like 50 when he gets.
Hey, and even so, let's say one of these huge moves is made. Right? Let's just say one of these huge moves is made, and they win a ring next year with these 3 guys, whoever it is, whatever combination it is. At that point, I'm really saying he's going to be in the league for 2 to 3 more years because he's going to want to catch that 6.
That ghost, man. He ain't gonna chase that ghost till he's 45. Get out of here. He ain't gonna chase that ghost. Get out of here. He tired. I think he's tired of chasing the ghost. I really do. I think he's tired of that. I think he's tired.
Hell no. That man's too much of a competitor to be tired of chasing the ghost. That man is not tired at all. He might be a little sore. A sprained MCL might keep him from doing much. You know what I mean?
A sprained MCL. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up right now because I'm not gonna get into that. That's gonna be it for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. We always respond. Everyone stay safe, and we are out.